This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Monday, December 29th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
President Trump welcomes Ukrainian President Volodomir Zelenskyy for peace talks as the administration tries to broker a peace deal with Russia. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
A powerful winter storm driven by a rapidly intensifying cyclone is sweeping east.
Highly impactful over the next several days.
I'm Julie Walker.
A deadly midair collision between two helicopters in New Jersey.
Flying really close together.
I'm Clayton Neville.
Beijing is imposing sanctions on 20 U.S. defense companies and 10 executives. I'm Donna Warder.
It was a fairly successful holiday shopping season for retailers, but holiday gifts are most definitely not a one-way street. I'm Peter Shacknow.
Gas prices hit their lowest of the year, and a group of Venezuelan migrants sent to El Salvador want their day in an American court. All ahead on America in the Morning. President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelenskyy met at Mar-A-Lago this weekend for discussions on the White House peace plan to end the war in Ukraine with Russia. John Stolnis has the latest from Washington.
Our meeting was excellent. We covered, somebody would say 95%. I don't know what percent, but we have made a lot of progress on ending that war.
Wrapping up a weekend of talks at his Florida vacation home, the president sounding optimistic things are heading in the right direction.
I really believe we're probably, Mr. President, by far closer than ever before with both parties. We had some times when he was close and President Putin wasn't. Then we'd have President Putin was close and he wasn't. You saw that in the White House. But I think they both want to see it happen.
For his part, Zelenskyy expressing confidence in the progress being made.
We had really great discussions on all the topics, and we appreciate the progress that was made by American and Ukrainian teams in these recent weeks.
Zelenskyy says much has already been agreed upon.
20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and U.S.-Ukraine security guarantees 100% agreed. U.S.-Europe-Ukraine security guarantees almost agreed. Military dimension 100% agreed.
Trump also held a 2.5-hour phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin over the weekend. The president claims Putin wants to help Ukraine.
Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. It sounds a little strange, but I was explaining to the president, President Putin was very generous in his feeling toward Ukraine succeeding, including supplying energy, electricity, and other things at very low prices.
Trump also said he understands why Putin is not open to a ceasefire at this time.
He feels that, look, they're fighting and to stop, and then if they have to start again, which is a possibility, he doesn't want to be in that position. I understand that position.
Both Trump and Zelenskyy acknowledged outstanding issues remain, including Russia's demands to keep territory it took during their invasion, and security guarantees for Ukraine that would prevent Russia from ever attacking again. The president said he would call Putin again to follow up, and Zelenskyy said he has been invited back to the White House for more talks with European leaders in January. John Stolnis, Washington.
A winter storm threatens to bring blizzards and ice to a large swath of the U.S., from North Dakota to New England, hampering holiday travel at one of the busiest times of the year. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Currently, there's a lot of winter storm warnings and blizzard warnings out from eastern portions of North Dakota across a good portion of Minnesota, northern Iowa, northern and central Wisconsin, and into the upper peninsula of Michigan. We do expect some very heavy snows across those areas over the next several days.
A powerful winter storm driven by a rapidly intensifying cyclone is sweeping east from the plains Sunday, bringing heavy snow, ice, rain, and severe weather expected to affect much of the country.
Farther east, the cold air is moving pretty quickly eastward across the Great Lakes, so there's going to be a lot of lake effect snows that develop early Monday off of Lake Michigan across western Michigan. And then eventually the cold air moves out eastward, and the lake effect snows will also start to become pretty frequent and active off of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario.
Bob Orvek, a lead forecaster with the National Weather Service, says snow could reach 2 feet near Lake Superior.
Part of the storm system is getting heavy snow. Parts of the other parts of the storm along the cold front are getting higher winds and much colder temperatures as the front passes.
Holiday travel taking a hit, especially flights at Chicago, O'Hare, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and New York's 3 major airports.
This storm will definitely be highly impactful over the next several days, especially with travel. high winds in the wake of the storm.
Oravec also says a weather pattern known as a blue norther will end days of record warmth in the south, bringing a sudden drop in temperatures.
There are going to be some really big temperature changes over the next several days. The high temperature today across Dallas is forecast to be in the lower 80s. But tomorrow, by Monday, the temperatures are in the middle 40s. And something similar also across like Little Rock. Temperatures today, 72 on Sunday, and then 35 for a high on Monday. So that typically, the blue norther typically describes the very cold air that moves southward across the middle part of the country.
I'm Julie Walker.
Sunday, more than 8,500 flights were delayed in America and another 700 canceled. Nearly half of all flights at Minneapolis, Chicago, and Toronto were delayed, while a third of flights through Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, Charlotte, Orlando, Philadelphia, and all three New York City airports experienced delays. China imposing sanctions on U.S. defense companies. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. America in the Morning continues with a deeper dive now on that winter weather headed for portions of the upper Midwest. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
The risk for blizzard conditions shifts a bit to the east for the early hours of today, but that risk will still exist from the eastern part of the Wisconsin-Michigan border across Michigan's upper peninsula, even into northern and western lower Michigan as a powerful storm heads northeastward into Canada. This will gradually take the snow with it to the north, but gusty winds and reduced visibility due to the already fallen snow are expected to last long enough for very difficult and dangerous travel this morning. Those areas aren't the only ones with a chance for snow today, and all of the eastern half of Wisconsin, as well as northern Illinois, all of Michigan, much of Ohio and West Virginia, and into upstate New York should at least have snow at times today. Some rain may mix in for a time for parts of West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and central New York, but a cold front brings in enough cold air to change rain to snow in some of these zones before it ends. Farther to the north and east, a warm front crossing New England means a dangerous ice storm, mainly for portions of Maine and northern New England, before temperatures rise above freezing, with just rain from southern New England through New Jersey and the Delmarva Peninsula. Rain showers continue near and ahead of the cold front from Virginia, south and west through the Carolinas, even into the Florida Panhandle and much of the northern part of the state this morning, with temperatures behind the front this afternoon as much as 40 to 50 degrees lower than yesterday in places like St. Louis and into western Kentucky and north central Arkansas. The west actually has a dry day in store today thanks to strong high pressure in place with a good deal of sunshine for many as well. In Elko, Nevada, expect sunshine today and a high of 40. For Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, watch for a shower around the midday hours, the high reaching 67. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Tragedy in the skies of southern New Jersey as two helicopters crashed midair Sunday, killing one pilot, critically injuring the other. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
Atlantic County Fire and EMS responded to a midair collision between two helicopters just after noon on Sunday in Hamilton, about 3 miles from the Hamilton Airport. This witness was in a nearby parking lot and spoke with ABC Action 6.
And they were flying lower than I would presume a helicopter would be, and they were flying really close together, like too close. And I say to myself, my God, I hope they're just flying too close. I hope they don't clip each other. And the minute I said it to myself, the impact occurred.
Hamilton Police Chief Kevin Friel.
Reports were that they were flying in tandem, that they were flying close together, which is probably what caused the collision to occur.
Authorities say only the pilots were on board each aircraft. One of them died while another was taken to a hospital with critical injuries. The FAA describes the crash as a mid-air collision between an F-28A helicopter and a 280C. I'm Clayton Neville.
It appears China is retaliating for the recent announcement of U.S. arms shipments to Taiwan. Correspondent Donna Warder reports that the Chinese government is imposing sanctions on 20 U.S. defense companies.
Beijing is imposing sanctions on 20 U.S. defense companies and 10 executives after the Trump administration last week announced large-scale arms sales to Taiwan. The companies include Northrop Grumman and Boeing in St. Louis. Their assets in China have been frozen, and Chinese organizations and individuals can no longer deal with them. Last week, the U.S. announced an arms sale package to Taiwan valued at more than $10 billion. It still must be approved by Congress. China claims Taiwan as its own and says it should be under China's control. I'm Donna Warder.
When we return on America in the Morning, the shift away from AI and tech stocks after these messages. The busy holiday season extended at retail. Here's CNBC's Peter Schacknow.
Retail stores will be crowded over the next few weeks with people who don't really like the socks you bought them, or have too many of whatever they were gifted, or simply don't like what they got. The National Retail Federation estimates that 17 to 19% of holiday purchases are returned, with clothing and shoes among the most frequent. Still, Michael Zakor, founder of retail consulting firm 5 New Digital, thinks the season went pretty well, considering subdued consumer sentiment and fewer days this year between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Consumers proved to be incredibly resilient, even in a shortened season. You know, people ask you, hey, how'd it go? Who's the winners? Who's the losers? The value retailers have done very well. Walmart, dollar stores. I think that's because people had less money to spend and they wanted to spend it in fewer places, and they had a shorter amount of time to do it.
Wall Street has another holiday-shortened trading week ahead. This week will be shortened by the New Year's Day holiday on Thursday, although there will be a full day of trading on December 31st. DCLA Managing Director Sarat Sethi says you are already seeing a trend at year-end that will carry over into next year, a shift in popularity away from AI and tech stocks.
Sectors like healthcare, you look at commodities, basic materials, they're just under-owned and underappreciated, and I think most momentum investors don't really look at them. But we think there's more earnings power and long-term investing in those sectors.
The event investors are most likely to be interested in this week takes place tomorrow, when the Federal Reserve releases the minutes of its most recent meeting, at which it cut interest rates a quarter point. 3 of the 12 voters cast dissenting votes on that decision. Market strategist Komal Srikumar says the naming of a new Fed chair next year might be a potential source of disruption for the economy.
You have all the aspirants to the Fed chairman position who, irrespective of what happens to inflation or growth, they want lower interest rates, because it's almost like they are crying, please make me the next chairman, I will cut interest rates, whatever you want me to do. So you are going to have a Federal Reserve which lacks independence even more than normal.
Google is rolling out a new feature which allows users to change their Gmail addresses without losing their data and services. However, it is not yet widely available and appears to be debuting in overseas markets. New York State will require social media platforms to display warning labels about potential harm to the mental health of young users. The law applies to those platforms with so-called addictive feeds that feature autoplay and infinite scrolling. It'll be a light week ahead for economic data and a virtually empty week on the corporate earnings calendar, but we will get the November pending home sales report this morning from the National Association of Realtors. That's the monthly measure of home sale contracts signed, but not yet closed.
Thank you. CNBC's Peter Schacknow. Also affecting our wallets today, lower gas prices. That when America in the Morning continues after these messages. America in the Morning continues on one of the busiest travel weeks of the year, and just in time as you take to the roads, the average price of gas for the nation is at its lowest point of 2025. AAA says the price for a gallon of regular nationally is $2.82. That's 3 cents lower than a week ago and 19 cents lower than it was at Thanksgiving. A total of 38 states now have gas prices averaging below $3, with Oklahoma's $2.24, the lowest average in the nation, followed by Arkansas at $2.38. Only two states, California at $4.28 and Hawaii at $4.43, have gas prices above $4. Shifting gears, a number of men who were part of a group of deported Venezuelan migrants sent to an El Salvador prison are demanding American justice after a federal judge in Washington ruled against the Trump administration. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer explains.
Men who were part of the group of Venezuelan migrants the United States government transferred earlier this year to a prison in El Salvador are demanding justice days after a federal judge in Washington ruled the Trump administration must give the group legal due process. In a press conference organized in Venezuela's capital city by the Venezuelan government, the group told reporters that they hope legal organizations can push their claims in court. On Monday, a U.S. judge ordered the U.S. government to either provide the 252 men court hearings or return them to the U.S. The men have repeatedly said that they were physically and psychologically tortured while at the notorious Salvadoran prison. Some say they have no interest in returning to the U.S., saying they do not trust the U.S. government. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
America in the Morning for Monday, December 29th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
And a heroic story involving another Texas teen abducted on Christmas. I'm Clayton Neville.
I'm Joan Jones. She thinks Democrats can win back the House
to take us to a better place.
The latest from Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi.
Lawyers for Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier are asking a judge to throw out sports gambling charges. I'm Geffen Coolbaugh.
Top 5 tech you can spend your gift card on. I'm the new old tech guy, Chuck Palm.
Cleaning up from a California deluge. And this is one court a former NBA star wants nothing to do with.
I'll let you know my unlikely favorite films of 2025. I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. Back now on America in the Morning. Freezing rain and ice will greet motorists in particular areas of the nation. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
A warm front lifting northward through the Northeast and New England sets the stage for a rather widespread icing event continuing today. And even though much of the freezing rain and drizzle should be confined to northern New Hampshire and into Maine for much of the day today, the risk for rain to freeze on surfaces for a time does continue for a large portion of northern New England and into northeastern New York as well. This has the potential to snarl travel rather substantially, with AccuWeather winter weather experts warning of the risk for slick roads and sidewalks until temperatures can rise above freezing for long enough to end that icing threat today. The rain should be fairly widespread across the rest of the Northeast as well, ahead of a strong cold front that brought some severe weather to parts of the Ohio Valley and the Midwest yesterday, even some tornadoes in Illinois. This powerful storm will also contribute to very strong winds of at least 40 to 50 miles per hour today from Iowa and Minnesota through the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and the Mid-Atlantic, with even higher gusts for much of Michigan and western parts of both New York and Pennsylvania. The cold side of this storm brings snow to places from central Kentucky to northeastern Indiana and north and west from there into northern Wisconsin, some of it in the form of snow squalls. The same cold front means showers today from the central Gulf Coast through Georgia, at least early today, with showers a bit more likely and long-lasting from the Carolinas into Virginia for today. Otherwise, most places west of the Mississippi River look to be dry, with the one clear exception being the area from far southern New Mexico into western Texas, where some pockets of rain and snow can be expected. Much of the day may be rather snowy in southeastern New Mexico in particular. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. There are stories of hope and despair in Texas as one teenager's been missing since Christmas Eve and is believed to be in imminent danger, while the father of another teen girl managed to track his kidnapped daughter down. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says that agencies from across the San Antonio area and around Texas are helping in the search for 19-year-old Camila Mendoza Olmos. She was last seen on Christmas Eve morning when she was captured on security video searching her vehicle for something, but it's not clear what she was looking for. The girl's family spoke with ABC News.
It's been very out of the normal.
It's not like her. She's always been the one to always stalk on us and like, why aren't you doing this?
To make sure that her phone's always charged.
Investigators say they think Mendoza Olmos left the residence on foot since her vehicle was still there, and that the only items she took with her were car keys and possibly her driver license. When she was last seen, she was wearing a baby blue with black hoodie, baby blue pajama bottoms, and white shoes. Meanwhile, in Porter, Texas, a father's being praised for rescuing his teen daughter who was kidnapped by a man with a knife on Christmas Day. The father found the girl by tracking her cell phone shortly after she was taken.
He used the location on her phone, as we saw, and then he immediately responded there and notified first responders. But using the phone's data to help determine where she might be really narrowed down the window of uncertainty. So once law enforcement did become involved, deputies relied on witness statements from some of the stuff I read. People did see the truck, and that was really key in helping them identify the vehicle and later the suspect.
Jillian Snyder is a former NYPD officer and spoke with Fox News about the quick thinking by the teen's father and the fast mobilization by authorities.
There's vast differences between the way that we, law enforcement, will investigate missing children versus missing adults. So when children go missing, we don't wait.
After tracking the teenager, the Texas father found her inside a maroon-colored pickup truck with a partially nude man in a secluded, partially wooded area about 2 miles away. That 23-year-old man was arrested and charged with aggravated kidnapping and indecency with a child. I'm Clayton Neville.
In a wide-ranging interview, she said she didn't mean to do it. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she tore up President Trump's State of the Union speech spontaneously. More from correspondent Joan Jones.
The former Speaker of the House told ABC News on Sunday that Democrats aren't actively looking to impeach President Trump again, but they will if they must, claiming without evidence that Trump violates the Constitution.
Impeachment, unless you have I've said to people, the one person who is responsible for the impeachments of Donald Trump is Donald Trump. It's not something you decide to do. It's what violation of the Constitution he engages in.
2 recent Democratic attempts to impeach the president have been filed since he was reelected. One effort was voted down, the other was withdrawn. NBC News reports that it may not be the end of the effort to impeach the president.
This individual member says it's a long time coming, and frankly, he promises to continue to bring it up over and over and over again.
On that now infamous tearing up of his State of the Union speech, Pelosi insists she didn't head into the House chambers that evening with tearing up paper on her mind.
I didn't intend to go to speech to tear it up, but the first part of it, I tore a page because he was lying, and then the next page, and then the next page. I thought it was a manifesto of lies all throughout, so I better just tear up the whole speech.
In November, Pelosi announced her retirement from politics, saying she wouldn't seek re-election at the end of her term in January of 2027. She tells ABC News that by that time, she's confident the Democrats will have retaken control of the House and that Hakeem Jeffries will be its new leader. As for President Trump, he says he won't miss her when she's gone.
I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible.
No love lost there. I'm Joan Jones.
California, cleaning up from a week of catastrophic weather that included 4 people dead and storm-related incidents. Some areas between San Francisco and San Diego getting more than a foot of rain and more than 3 feet of snow falling in the mountains. Dangerous Santa Ana winds gusting over 60 miles an hour, with mud and rock slides causing damage, including power outages and washed-out roads. More on the story from correspondent Lisa Dwyer.
And a storm system that brought the wettest Christmas season to downtown Los Angeles in 54 years saw one mountain town get walloped by heavy rain and mudslides. Wrightwood, California residents are cleaning up. Operating on generators, Mountain Hardware is open for business.
Fire starting things, logs, wood, propane is a big popular one, tarps. Things like that, anything weather related, that's what they're coming in for.
Manager Eric Faulkner.
Let's see, we've survived the blizzard of 2023, we survived the fires of 2024, and now the flooding of 2025, so Wrightwood strong.
But even he admits.
As far as just impact on the town as a whole, this is probably the worst I've seen.
Manny Simpson has been a Wrightwood resident for 14 years, says he's staying put.
We like it here so much we're never going to move no matter what happens. We've had to evacuate 3 or 4 times, and we've been through it all, and we're still here, so we're not moving.
I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Among the stories we're covering next, Trump-Netanyahu meeting today. After these messages. This is America in the Morning. A Virginia man arrested earlier this month, suspected of being the person who planted pipe bombs outside the headquarters of the Democratic and Republican National Committees on January 6, 2021, repeatedly cited conspiracy theories about the 2020 election when he was taken into custody. The Justice Department had not previously detailed a motive for the attempted attack or any possible connection between the pipe bombs and the January 6 Capitol riot. However, in a filing released Sunday, the DOJ said suspect Brian Cole Jr. told investigators he was going to a protest in support of then-President Trump on the day of the attack. The DOJ says Cole told investigators, quote, "If people feel that their votes are just being thrown away, then at the very least, someone should address it," end quote. Cole, who was arrested and charged with transporting explosives across state lines, will appear in federal court for his detention hearing scheduled for tomorrow. America in the Morning continues. As Benjamin Netanyahu meets with President Trump today, the African Union and some European nations are rejecting Israel's recognition of Somalia's breakaway region. Correspondent Donna Warder explains.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made Israel the first country to recognize Somaliland, Somalia's breakaway region, as an independent nation. And Netanyahu and Somaliland's president, Abdurrahman Mohammed Abdallah, signed a joint declaration.
I want you to know that I'm signing now, as we speak, Israel's official recognition of Somaliland and its right of self-determination.
On Saturday, Africa's regional governance bodies rejected the recognition. The African Union says it undermines Somalia's sovereignty and risks peace and stability on the continent. It's not known why Israel made the declaration, but earlier this year, U.S. and Israeli officials said that Israel had approached Somaliland about taking in Palestinians from Gaza as part of President Donald Trump's plan at the time to resettle the territory's population. The U.S. has since abandoned that plan. I'm Donna Warder.
There are other concerns in the Middle East as Iran, with the help of Russia, launched 3 domestically built satellites into low Earth orbit aboard a Russian Soyuz rocket. The move deepens space cooperation between Tehran and Moscow in a program Western governments say draws on technologies applicable to long-range missiles. The launch comes within 24 hours of Iran's president declaring his country is in a full-scale war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe. An NBA player at the center of a sports gambling scandal has asked the court to throw out his case. Correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
Lawyers for Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier are asking a judge to throw out sports gambling charges. They argue the government overreached by turning a private dispute over bettors' use of non-public information into a federal case. A dismissal motion made public Tuesday says the government's theory of the case runs afoul of a recent Supreme Court ruling that narrowed the federal wire fraud statute. Rozier was released on $3 million bond after pleading not guilty in federal court December 8th to wire fraud conspiracy and money laundering conspiracy charges. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Bryce Reeves has dropped out of the U.S. Senate race in Virginia, leaving Republicans without a leading candidate to unseat three-term Democrat Senator Mark Warner. Reeves announced his decision on social media, saying he was dealing with a serious family health matter, but did not elaborate. Reeves posted, "My faith and my family come first." Three other lesser-known Republicans remain in next year's GOP Senate primary. Well, many people get gift cards around the holiday season, but may have difficulty deciding what to buy with them. Chuck Palm, as the new old tech guy, has that story.
Chances are you got some gift cards over the holiday season. With a little help from AI, I've compiled a list of the best-selling top 5 tech gifts you can spend your gift cards on. The Roku Streaming Stick Plus 2025 edition, a sleek 4K HDR streaming device with voice remote. Not to be outdone, number 4, Amazon Fire TV devices, the popular 50-inch Omni QLED series. 50-inch streaming TV is only $279.99. Number 3, Anker portable chargers and power banks. Compact, fast-charging essentials keeping everyone powered up on the go. 45 watts for only $59.99. Number 2, Apple AirPods 4. Spatial audio, water-resistant, and USB-C charging. On sale for just $99. And the number 1 tech you can spend your gift card money on is the Apple 2025 MacBook Air 13-inch laptop with M4 chip. Currently $799. A couple of honorable mentions are the Blink Mini 2 home security and pet camera is still only $39.99, and the Insignia 32-inch LED HD Smart Fire TV is still only $79.99. Links to all these products on thenewOldTechGuy.com. I'm Chuck Palm.
Robert Workman has Monday Sports on America in the Morning.
NFL Week 17, we're still sorting out the playoff picture. The Patriots pounded the Jets on Sunday 42-10, 5 touchdown passes for Drake May.
Guys run the right routes with the right feel for zone. They feel like I was throwing it pretty good, and from there the guys up front keep on blocking their butts off.
New England, a perfect 8-0 on the road this season and wins the AFC East. Eagles held off the Bills 13-12. Buffalo scored both of its touchdowns in the game's final 6 minutes, but had a point after blocked and failed on a 2-pointer. The Jaguars rallied past the Colts 23-17. Trevor Lawrence ran for 2 scores. Jacksonville has won 7 straight and is 1 win away from the AFC South crown. Browns stuffed the Steelers 13-6, so Pittsburgh will host Baltimore for the AFC North title on Sunday. Zach Charbonnet rushed for 2 TDs to lead the Seahawks past the Panthers, while the Dolphins beat the Buccaneers, so it'll be Carolina at Tampa Bay for all the marbles in the NFC South on Sunday. A fun one last night. The 49ers outran the Bears 42-38, both teams heading to the playoffs. Wins for the Bengals, Saints, and the Giants, who ripped the Raiders. Both teams came in on 9-game losing streaks. 12 teams have secured playoff berths, including 4 division winners, while both conference top seeds are still up for grabs. NBA, the Thunder rolled over the 76ers 129-104 to end their first losing streak of the season, 2 games, 29 points for Chet Holmgren. Kawhi Leonard poured in a career-best 55 to lead the Clippers past the Pistons 112-99. Hockey, Justin Brazeau notched his first career hat trick to boost the Penguins over the Blackhawks 7-3. That's Monday Sports.
The best movies of the year, when America in the Morning continues after these messages. She was a 1960s movie icon and international sex symbol who later left Hollywood behind to become an animal rights activist. Actress Brigitte Bardot passed away at the age of 91. Correspondent Luke Garrett takes a look at her career both on and off the screen.
Brigitte Bardot, the French 1960s sex symbol who became one of the greatest screen sirens of the 20th century and later a militant animal rights activist and far-right supporter, has died. French President Emmanuel Macron said on Sunday, "We are mourning a legend." Bardot became an international celebrity in the 1956 movie And God Created Woman, which triggered a scandal with scenes of her dancing on tables naked. Her cinema career spanned some 28 films. Bardot's second career as an animal rights activist saw her travel to the Arctic to blow the whistle on the slaughter of baby seals, condemn the use of animals in laboratory experiments, and oppose Muslim slaughter rituals. Her activism earned her the Legion of Honor in 1985, France's highest recognition. Later, however, she fell from public grace as her animal protection diatribes took on an extremist tone, and she was convicted and fined 5 times in French courts of inciting racial hatred. She died at her home in southern France, aged 91. I'm Luke Garrett.
We're just hours away from the end of the year with a number of big hits making it to theaters. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr looks back at his picks for the best films of 2025.
I don't always agree with other best of the year lists, so here's my 5 favorite films I saw in 2025.
It's a toy monkey? It's evil. It's basically the devil.
Number 5 seems surprising, but as a lifelong Stephen King fan, I had a blast watching the over-the-top splatterfest adaptation of his short story, The Monkey, directed by Osgood Perkins.
Maintain a speed of 3 miles per hour. Walk until there's only one of you left.
In 4th place was another Stephen King adaptation. The Long Walk seems as relevant now as it was when it was written half a century ago. This so-called unfilmable story of sacrifice and courage was powerful but tough to watch at times. In 3rd place was another scary film, this time from a different perspective. Good Boy took the unique angle of a ghost story told through the eyes of a dog. Its star, Indy, gave easily one of the best performances of the year.
We detected an ICBM over the Pacific. Current flight trajectory is consistent with impact somewhere in the continental United States.
2nd place belongs to Catherine Bigelow's nuclear thriller, A House of Dynamite. This film pulled back the curtain on our country's potential response to a nuclear threat.
Hey! Quit messing around!
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
And in 1st place, I was brought back to my childhood reading comic books after school. James Gunn's adaptation of Superman reminded me of the uplifting version of The Man of Steel. I'm Kevin Carr.
America in the Morning for Monday, December 29th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.